So yesterday we covered a story out of Yemen about how civilians were recently massacred in a botched bombing. And today we have to revisit the story because the death toll ballooned. So Reuters reports, quote, the death toll from an airstrike on a wedding party in Yemen has jumped to 131 people in one of the deadliest attacks on civilians in Yemen's war. Now remember, as we mentioned yesterday, many of the people who are killed, women and children. They say a Saudi-led coalition that has air supremacy over Yemen has strongly denied any role in the wedding party carnage, and a coalition spokesman suggested that local militias may have fired the projectiles. All right. Allow me to say this right now. That's totally made up. It's totally untrue. It's the Saudis playing the, me? I would never do anything like that. But wait. We know that you've been doing the airstrikes for a long time now there. So of course it's you. What are you talking about? It was somebody else who's doing airstrikes in the region. Nobody else is doing airstrikes in the region. What are you talking about? So I don't believe their nonsense here for a second, but nobody does. The international community's reaction is the same. They're like, of course it's you. What are you saying? They say international rights groups have expressed alarm at the escalating number of civilian deaths in the conflict, at least 2,355 out of more than 4,500 people killed. So we're looking at a civilian death rate of over 50% in the fighting. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a stop coming anytime soon. Now, this is part of the broader Sunni-Shia schism here, but the reason why this is so important, and the reason why Americans certainly need to know about this, is that we are the ones arming the Saudis. We know what they're doing with the arms. We know how they're violating international law and they're killing gross numbers of civilians, but we are continuing to arm them. We have such a strong business relationship with the Saudis that we continue to give them weapons and money to do the bombing of civilians, and we know that's what's happening, but it doesn't look like that's going to stop anytime soon. So perhaps one of the biggest motivating factors here is simply the military-industrial complex. We have many defense contractors who get no-bid contracts. They're building all the time, fighter jets and tanks and weapons, and they keep building it, keep building it, and in order to keep getting new contracts and keep building stuff, they got to unload some of it. So what do? Well, we have these deals set up with all these different governments, whether it's Egypt or Israel or Saudi Arabia, where, hey, we give you X amount of money in international aid every year, whether it's $1 billion or $3 billion, depending on which place you're talking about, and then they immediately send that money back and we send them weapons. That's the ruse that we have going on. But it's gotten to the point where the morality of what we're doing is not considered in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. So when Netanyahu goes into the Palestinian territories or goes into Gaza and he kills 80% civilians, over 500 women and children, Gaza, according to a UN report, will be uninhabitable by 2020. When he does that, we go, hey, you want more weapons? Why would we do that? That's insane. When Egypt's Sisi massacres peaceful Muslim Brotherhood protesters in the street, we go, you want some more weapons? Now understand, guys, I disagree with the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not in favor of them. But that doesn't mean then that Sisi gets to massacre peaceful Muslim Brotherhood protesters as he did. And then we go, hey, you want more weapons with that? And now Saudi Arabia is bombing Yemen. And in Yemen, naturally, they despise Saudi Arabia now. But you know who else they despise? Us. You want to know why they despise us? Because they can see on the remnants of the different bombs and rockets where this weaponry is coming from, where the artillery is coming from. They see it. They see it. There was an article in Vice which laid out in great detail how somebody on the ground, they saw it. They're like, oh, look at that. No wonder why they hate us. So understand, guys, a lot of the hatred directed at the U.S., some of it absolutely stems from a place of just religious fundamentalism, but a lot of it doesn't. A lot of it stems from hatred based on our actions that, hey, we're arming regimes that are in many ways flat out genocidal, or they don't care about the number of civilians they kill. And then we breed hatred and we go, what? I don't know why everybody's mad at me. I'm just doing business as usual here and just look the other way. No, don't look the other way. What we need to do is, as Noam Chomsky says, if we want to stop international terrorism, there's an easy way to do it. Stop participating in it. So we're only responsible for what we do. We can only control our actions. So let's not sell weapons to all these different regimes that are going to slaughter civilians. And by the way, while we're at it, we also shouldn't kill civilians. Like, for example, the drone campaign in Pakistan and Somalia and in Yemen. Like, for example, the various wars, whether the war in Afghanistan or the war in Iraq or elsewhere. So if we control our actions and do a better job of that, yes, we will, by definition, live in a more peaceful world, because the worst regimes won't be armed and we won't be killing people as well.